A pope, the highest religious leader in the world. The man people called God's representative on earth. But imagine this, that same pope, inside the Vatican itself, sitting on a chair while 50 women crawled naked across marble floors, picking up chestnuts by candlelight. His son watched. His daughter was there too. And yes, it was all written down in the Vatican's own secret archives. This is the story of Pope Alexander VI, the most corrupt, most scandalous, and the most perverted pope in history. Why should you care about one pope's wild night? Because this wasn't just about sex or sin. This scandal shook the faith of millions. It gave fuel to the Protestant Reformation. It forced the Catholic Church into reforms that would shape it for centuries. The banquet of chestnuts wasn't just a party. It was the moment when the Vatican's power and morality collided, and the whole world took notice. Rodrigo Borgia was born in Spain in 1431. His childhood was simple, but fate had other plans. His uncle became pope, and young Rodrigo was pushed straight into power. By just 25, he was a cardinal, not because of holiness, but because of family connections. Rome at the time was a city of contradictions. By day, pilgrims prayed at golden altars. By night, the same streets were full of brothels and crime. Rodrigo understood this world perfectly. He made money, bought influence, and collected mistresses. In 1492, through bribery and gold, Rodrigo bought enough votes to become Pope Alexander VI. The people actually celebrated. Fires lit up Rome, music filled the streets, and many thought he would bring order and reform. But behind the grand image of a holy leader, his papacy was about to become one of the darkest chapters in history. Alexander VI didn't live like a man of God. He lived like a Renaissance prince. His palaces were filled with banquets, music, and endless wine. His mistresses lived with him openly. The most famous was Julia Farnese, called Julia the Beautiful. But what shocked people most was that he treated his children as a normal family, something popes were never supposed to have. His son Juan became Duke of Gandia. His son Cesare became a bishop, then a cardinal. And his daughter Lucrezia was used as a political pawn, married off again and again for alliances. The Vatican, under Alexander, was less like the holy seat of Christianity and more like a family business built on power, lust, and gold. In 1497, tragedy struck. Alexander's beloved son Juan was found dead in the Tiber River, stabbed 9 times. Rumors spread that his own brother, Cesare, was behind it. For 3 days, the Pope locked himself away, weeping and refusing to eat. He promised reforms, promising to clean up the Vatican, but just months later, nothing changed. The banquets returned, the corruption grew, and Cesare became even more ruthless. Where Juan had been Alexander's heart, Cesare became his sword, cold, ambitious, and feared by all of Italy. And then came October 31st, 1501, All Hallows' Eve. Cesare organized a party that would go down in history as the Banquet of Chestnuts. At first, it seemed like a normal dinner. Guests ate fine food, drank expensive wine, and listened to music. But then 50 courtesans, professional women of the time, entered the room. At first they danced in silk dresses. But as the night went on and the wine flowed, the silks were removed until they were dancing naked, servants then scattered chestnuts across the marble floor. The women crawled on their hands and knees, collecting the chestnuts by candlelight. The Pope himself sat in a seat of honor, watching. His son Cesare watched. His daughter Lucrezia was present too, whether by choice or force, historians still debate. And then came the contest. The male guests were challenged. Whoever could sleep with the greatest number of women would win. Servants kept score. The prizes? Fine silks, shoes, and jewelry. What was supposed to be a house of prayer had turned into a twisted carnival of lust, witnessed by the Pope himself, and this wasn't rumor. The Vatican's own master of ceremonies, Johann Burchard, recorded the entire night in his diary with cold, factual detail. Those pages were later locked away in the Vatican archives. For centuries, too shameful to reveal. The next morning, Rome looked the same. Pilgrims still filled the churches, priests still held mass, and the Pope still greeted people as if nothing had happened. But the news spread fast. Servants whispered. Diplomats wrote letters to their kings. Across Europe, shock and disgust exploded. Reformers pointed to the scandal and shouted, This is proof. The papacy is corrupt to its core. Protestants would later use it as ammunition to argue against Catholic authority. Even Catholic loyalists admitted something was deeply wrong in the Vatican, but Alexander VI didn't repent. Instead, he continued to live in excess. Some even said the exposure made him feel freer, no longer needing to pretend to be holy at all. The banquet of chestnuts was more than just a night of sin. It became a symbol of how far a pope could fall when power was placed above faith. The image of courtesans crawling across the Vatican's marble floors for chestnuts has echoed through history, not just as a scandal, but as a warning of what happens when leaders, trusted with morality, betray it completely. Alexander VI died in 1503, possibly from malaria or maybe poison. His son Cesare soon lost power and died in battle. Lucrezia lived on in Ferrara, but she could never escape the shadow of her family name. Even centuries later, historians still argue, was Burchard's account exaggerated or the plain truth? But either way, Alexander VI's papacy left a permanent scar. And here's the question for you. When leaders trade morality for power, what do we remember more, them or the faith they dragged down with them? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.